Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president of JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives veterans, male spouses, active military members, military family members, and patriotic military supporters a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has helped them in their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am so excited to have with me Jeff Pierce and Justin Latini. Jeff Pierce comes from a legacy of family service and was in the National Guard in high school, but due to injuries sustained in a car accident was medically discharged. He currently serves as the Public Affairs Officer for the Main Wing of Civil Air Patrol, the official civilian auxiliary of the United States Air Force, achieving the rank of Major. Jeff is the Director of Media and Military Partnerships for Reese Across America and is responsible for curating content for Reese Across America Radio, as well as creating partnerships with other media outlets, VSOs, and other organizations to further the mission of Reese Across America. Jeff is also a member of the Veterans Forward Board of Directors, the philanthropic arm of the FedCap program, helping veterans get the hand up they need. Jeff serves on the Maine Association of Broadcasters Board and teaches as an adjunct professor in the Communications Department at Southern Maine Community College. Jeff Pierce was the 2019 Maine Association of Broadcasters Broadcast Achievement Award winner and a 2019 inductee into the Maine Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Justin Latini served in the U.S. Navy aboard nuclear, ballistic missile submarines and fast attacks from 1971 to 1974. After being honorably discharged, he earned a Bachelor of Science from Bridgewater University with a concentration in sports medicine. After his retirement in 2009, he relocated to Westport, Massachusetts. Justin currently is the National Regional 1 Director of Vietnam Veterans of America and president of VVA number 207. He sits on the Massachusetts State Council for the Vietnam Veterans of America as secretary and is a life member of the DAV in Fall River. Justin is also a member of the board of directors for the Massachusetts Vietnam Memorial Wall in Fall River, Massachusetts, and serves as the fundraising chairman. Justin is the co-host of Veterans Voice Network Radio, a weekly radio show highlighting veteran benefits. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on Tactical Treasures podcast. Welcome, and thank you both for your service. It's a pleasure to have you both with us today. So, Jeff, Justin, I have a couple questions for you before we get into our exciting discussion today. Justin, I would love to know what inspired you to join the Navy.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll shorten it right up. At 17, I decided to join the Marines, and my dad was a W-2 Navy guy who served in the Philippines on a heavy cruiser. So I brought the papers home, and he said, "Nope, bring home Navy
Oh,
papers." So I brought the Navy papers home. Of course, my mom, it was during Vietnam, said, he's not going. My dad's like, yeah, he wants to go. So I went off to boot camp and then A school and sub school. And when I came home, my dad was real proud. So he said to me, "What ship are you on?" I said, "I'm not on a ship." And he said, "You joined the Navy, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, I'm on submarines. Again, he had told me not to volunteer for anything. At 17, I volunteered. And then to get into submarines, you have to volunteer again. So I didn't listen to my dad too well. But so I said, "No, I was on submarines." And he looked at me and he said, "I would have rather had you be a Marine than go down in one of those," because he's thinking it's the old
yeah.
diesel World War II. So my dad, shortly after I was about 6 months out of this military, he passed away. So I wear a patch and it says the best Marine
Oh,
is a submarine. And that one's dedicated to my dad. So my Marine friends know it. They first look
oh,
at it
I
and then they
love it.
chuckle. But so that's my
Oh, that's
patch to my
great. What
dad.
a
Yeah.
great story. I
So,
love that. So,
yeah.
Jeff, I know that originally you were in the National Guard in high school and series of events, you were medically discharged, but you have an amazing legacy of service in your family. And now you are with the main wing of Civil Air Patrol. And I would love to know what inspired you to go that route and join them.
Well, thank you for asking that question, Tracy. So, in 2000, hard to believe that
Yeah.
was 25 years
Wow.
ago, I decided to lose 30 something pounds and try and reenlist in the Maine
Mhm.
Army National Guard. So I rose my right hand and I reenlisted in the National Guard, and unfortunately, some of the injuries that I had from my previous enlistment were not detected until after I started,
Right.
going to drill. And so I ended up getting medically
Mm.
discharged for a second time. And I wanted to do something where I could, do some kind of quasi military and mentorship as well experience. So I ended up tripping over the Civil Air Patrol. I had heard about the Civil Air Patrol, and as I like to refer to it in my public affairs role, it's the best kept secret
Mm.
in volunteering. So helping them, managing radio stations and helping them with their public affairs, kind of a natural fit, and was able to help them along the way. Left them for a while, rejoined, and now I've been the public affairs officer for the main wing for
Mm.
4 years now, and helping them get the word out about what they're doing and the great work the cadets are doing. We had 3 cadets go to service academies this year. Just an incredible program, an incredible opportunity for youth and for adults who want to
Right,
still
right.
serve.
I love it. I love that you just kept at it and found another way to serve. I think that's great. But an amazing story. I love it. So both of you obviously have jobs that you're doing now. Jeff, you're with Reese Across America Radio. Justin, you're with Vietnam Veterans of America. We've recently heard about the announcement of this partnership between Reese and Vietnam veterans. So I would love to know, how did this come about? What was the process, or the idea, the brainchild? What made you think of this?
I
Okay.
will take
Oh,
that one,
of
Tracy, if
course.
you don't mind, Justin.
Oh,
So,
please.
this came about. We're all familiar with the 50th Vietnam
Mm.
War commemoration, right? The 50th Vietnam War commemoration will sunset in November of this year. It is one of the things that we do at Reads Across America is we make sure on our mobile education exhibit that does about 160, 170 stops a year across the nation, that all Vietnam veterans who come aboard to take the tour and watch the movie inside the mobile education exhibit are welcomed home, right? And that's part of the commemorations mission. However, they're sunsetting. So the thought at Reads Across America was we want to continue that welcome home mission in perpetuity. So I've been fortunate to have Justin in my life. I'm sure the feeling is not mutual, but I in the for the past several years, and he's actually in behind the scenes. He's on the board for VVA, as we know, and so he helped me, coaching me along the way on how to navigate the VVA system. And the former chief of staff for VVA, Phil Waite, was also someone that was a colleague and friend, and we were able to do an MOU,
Mhm.
Memorandum of Understanding, with the VVA, and essentially says that the VVA will promote the mission of Reads Across America, and that Reads Across America will work with the VVA to continue to make sure that all Vietnam veterans get their proper welcome home that they deserved. And there's a few other things in there as well, but the reality is these memorandums of understanding allow for us, the organizations, to support each other's mission. So how did it come about? It was an idea because we need to continue. Not all
Mhm.
Vietnam veterans have been
Right.
formally welcomed home
Yeah.
with their lapel pin. We need to make
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
that happens.
And it's about the legacy. And it's part of the one of our legs, as I say, of the legacy for Vietnam veterans. But our national motto is, never again will one generation of
Mm.
veterans abandon another. So not only is it for our generation of veterans, but it's for the generation that came after us, and this was a perfect fit. I met Phil several years ago by accident, actually, at an event, and we just kind of hit it off, and then things have just worked out, and it strengthens both organizations. You know, when we tie in Vietnam Veterans of America and Reese Cross America, it's a good tie. It makes sense to everyone that we do that. And as we sunset out in the future, Reese Cross America will continue, and we're hoping that that younger generation will pick up the torch as we did for the W-2 veterans, and we'll continue.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. And, you know, it's such a shame that our Vietnam veterans have been wanting to be recognized and welcomed home for so many years. It's just horrible, horrible, horrible how they were received when they came home. We don't do that in this country, or at least we hope we don't. We hope we learn from our mistakes and do better, right? So I think this is amazing that your organization and even other organizations are coming out and figuring out a way to, you know, welcome our Vietnam veterans home and have them be recognized properly, you know, for their service to our country.
Well, I think if you forget history, you'll repeat it. And I think when you see the past 20 years of those
Mm-hmm.
soldiers coming home, it was Vietnam veterans who were on the tarmac telling them that their service matters and we will welcome them home. And now we're getting those veterans are thanking us for coming home and being recognized. I have traveled throughout New England. I'm the regional director here in New England. And some sad stories. I meet gentlemen 40, 50 years later who still,
Mm-hmm.
especially the non-combat veterans, who say they're not real veterans. And their wives are, I can see the tears, and a veteran will say, "No, I'm not a real veteran because I didn't go to combat." And I try to explain to them that I ask a veteran three things. Did you go where they told you to go? Did you do what you told you to do? And did you serve honorably? And if you fill those three billets, you are a veteran and you should be proud of your service and you should embrace that. And wherever you served, 7 million of us served
Mm-hmm.
around the world during Vietnam, and 2.6 served in Vietnam. So you have these 7
Right.
million people who served that really have
Right.
never been recognized as well as the
Yeah.
combat veterans. And I love my combat veterans, and there's so many who still
Mm-hmm.
won't come forward because of the way they were
Right.
treated. And I tell them it's not really for them, it's for the next
Right.
generation of veterans. They need to come and be thanked so that they can thank another veteran who's younger than
Right.
them. And
Right.
that's so important today.
It is. It is. And, you know, I mean, I even see it today, you know, in being enmeshed in the veteran community with JDog, our company. Even today, there are veterans. My husband being one, he served in peacetime, and he not ashamed, but he feels bad that he didn't get to go. And he actually trained for Desert Storm, and just as he got out, he his unit was deployed, and he wanted to go. He said, "I've trained for this. I want to go," but they weren't taking reenlistments back then. And it bothers him, and I've heard it from, you know, other veterans as well. And I like to say, okay, did you take an oath? Did you sign on the dotted line that you would give everything, including your life, for our country? Well, yes, you did. Well, then, you know, you served. Don't don't
Well, I use the
discount that,
analogy
you know.
for those veterans who served during peacetime. I try to use the analogy of a police officer for 20 years that walked the beat. And his last day, people were coming out and thanking him. And he said, "Well, I didn't do anything. I never pulled my weapon. I never arrested anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, because you were here, you prevented all that to happen."
Mm-hmm.
So those who served during peacetime, because they were ready to serve, because we were ready to go, you prevented probably things that would have happened if you weren't at the ready. So they
Right.
need to embrace that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Definitely. Viewers and listeners, are you a military veteran or military family member and looking to own your own business? If so, go to jdog.com and check out our two veteran-focused franchises, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling and JDog Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. Our franchisees nationwide are always looking to hire fellow veterans and patriots. JDog is the world's largest military franchise system with hundreds of locations nationwide. We are nearly 90% veteran owned with the goal of reducing the veteran unemployment rate to under 1%. Check us out. Go to jdog.com to learn more. Now, back to the podcast. Great words of wisdom. I love it. How do you see, could you just sort of highlight some of things that you think that the partnership will do with both organizations? How do you think that you guys will kind of interlock and help one another? Yeah, Jeff.
I'll go. Yeah. Okay. So the opportunity here is, Reads Across America is a national brand, right? We're going to be in over 5,000 locations, cemeteries, memorials on December 13th this year, honoring veterans that are no longer with us. But 50% of the conversations I have every week are Reads Across America, never heard of it. Right. So here's this national brand in all 50 states and overseas in Guam and Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. But yet 50% of the conversations I have in a week are interesting, cool, never heard of that. And so when you talk about Vietnam Veterans of America, you're talking about an organization that is specific for Vietnam veterans. Right. Yet there are people that are Vietnam veterans that same thing. Vietnam Veterans of America. Haven't heard of it, right? And Justin has these conversations on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
And so,
are you with the VFW? I'm like, no, we're a separate organization.
Right. Yeah.
So by creating these partnerships and these MOUs, memorandums of understanding, we have the opportunity to elevate each other. So within the organization of Vietnam Veterans of America, people cross-section haven't heard of Reads Across America, but when they do, hey, how can I help with that? Okay. When Reads Across America is talking about Vietnam Veterans of America to a Vietnam veteran, and same thing, I probably should get involved in that. Right. And so one thing I wanted to clarify from the previous conversation is, and I had a great conversation with a veteran at the VVA convention this year, Vietnam era, and Justin touched on this, right, is that, a lot of times folks refer to Vietnam veterans that didn't go overseas as Vietnam era veterans, right? And the reality of this situation is, as we've kind of touched on, is if you were in the United States military from 1955 to 1975, you are considered a Vietnam veteran, period. No era attached to that, no caveats, right? And so when we talk about the relationship, we go back to this and we say, okay, I can share so many different stories about Vietnam veterans that are proud of their service that didn't know that they had this official welcome home piece, right? And I may sound a little hung up on the welcome home piece, but it is such a healing process for our Vietnam veterans to receive. I don't make it my mission to make grown men and women cry, but I mean, the reality of the situation is watching those emotions and watching the healing that happens when you shake their hand and hand them a lapel pin that they can now generally put on their hat, and a proclamation from the President of the United States. Every president since Barack Obama has signed this proclamation that says, here is your official welcome home. It's a life-changing experience. So to keep this moving forward. And as Justin said, I mean, obviously we're, except for Justin, most of our Vietnam veterans are getting older. And I
am one of the babies, by the way.
But point being, right, is that, as the Vietnam Veterans of America continue to sunset, the foundation that we built with the Reads Across America organization allows them a place to ensure that they are going to be remembered. So what do we hope to get out of the partnership? I used to get paid by the word. I'm sorry, Tracy. So it was a lot of words to say this. It is.
Okay. I love the stories.
It is mutually beneficial to organizations in the veteran space to to work together and understand that it's all about legacy and the legacy of service in this organization, with Reads Across America and Vietnam Veterans of America, that now has a lasting legacy with this partnership.
Got it. And what did they
And for
say?
Vietnam,
Oh, sorry, Justin. I was just going to
no, I'm
say,
just saying it.
what did they say in the
Yep.
Navy? All high tides lift all boats. Is that what they say?
Well, I wouldn't know because we were never at the
That's
high
right. You
tide. We
were
were
in the
about 800 feet
submarine.
underneath. Yeah, so when people say sometimes, were you? And I say submarines, I go, you're one of those.
One of
But
those.
one of those. They talk about the rough water and and the seas being 30 feet, and I say we just took it down and got to that sweet water, which is soft. But I just follow up what Jeff said though. What I have told some veterans, because there are a lot of veterans who get hung up on that Vietnam veteran, is that if you're a Vietnam vet who didn't serve in combat, you should use the word "I'm a wartime Vietnam veteran," because we never heard of era Korea or era World War II. Um, and I kind of traced it back a little bit. It was a way to separate those who were in country coming home from those who weren't in country and try to separate the veterans. There was a big push to separate them and demean those in combat. So we all consider ourselves as wartime veterans. And I believe that what will happen is by strengthening with Reach Across America, again, it's part of our legacy. For Vietnam veterans, our generation, we have the POW flag, we have the Vietnam Wall, and the PAC Act, and the benefits that come with it,
Yeah.
which in the beginning weren't going to include other veterans. When the bill originally was introduced, some of the folks up on the Hill wanted to just be for Vietnam veterans, and they said, let the other veterans fight for the next 40, 50 like you've been waiting. And we kind of dug our heels and said, no, this bill has to include all veterans so that they don't have to wait 40 years for their benefits.
Right.
And so, again, that national motto, never again will one generation of veterans abandon another, is our legacy to our next generation of veterans. And so, again, when we go into sunset, our average age is 78 Vietnam veterans. That's the average age.
Yeah.
But Reach Across America, hopefully, will be there after we sunset, and our legacy will be part of them. So that's why it's such a strong bond with us with Reach Across America.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I can really see how the partnership will benefit both organizations and lift all boats, right? Or submarines.
Most of them.
So, guys, this has been an amazing conversation, and I'm excited for this partnership. I think it's going to be amazing. But we are the Tactical Treasures podcast. We've come to the time. You know what that means. I have to ask each of you. And Justin, I'll start with you. What is your tactical treasure that you would like to share with us today? What has helped you in your journey in life?
I think just the idea of a brotherhood, whether no matter what branch of service you served in, I always relate. And when young, I go with the Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts. I present them with a medal, which VBA is allowed to give. And I talk to some of the younger folks going in the military, and I tell them, unlike college frat houses, unlike colleges, once you join our organization, it's worldwide, and no matter what branch of the service, there's a brotherhood. We argue with each other, and Jeff and I can be arguing, but if someone who's not in the brotherhood steps in, that's not a good thing for them because we stick together. And I think that through life has been that as veterans. And real quick, I want to share this. I wear a veteran hat, and a young man asked me one day, do I wear it so that people will know I'm a veteran? And I said, no, I wear it so I can find other veterans, because without the hat, you'll walk by someone and you'll make eye contact, but you're not sure. But if they're wearing a cap and you have your cap on, that becomes a whole new conversation, and you've got a new friend for life. So, I encourage my veterans to wear a pin or a cap so that we can find each other.
That's great.
And that's the way we go through life.
I love it. Brotherhood. That's a great tactical treasure because it is a brotherhood. It's a camaraderie that really can't be duplicated anywhere else in a frat house or a college dorm or whatever. I definitely see it, because I'm in it myself, and I see that brotherhood.
and add sisterhood, because there are so many more
Yes.
female veterans today. So
Yes. And
it's
sisterhood. Yeah.
brotherhood's kind of used as a generic term.
Right. I understand that. Yes. We have many women who have served our country as well and are serving. So uh, that's a great tactical treasure, Justin. Thank you. Jeff, what is your tactical treasure?
I think that, and I've been putting a lot of thought into this, not just because we were going to be on your show, Tracy,
Yeah.
but in general, right? My ability to connect the dots. Okay. And this program is a perfect example, right? The fact that we're all here together because we all share this one thing. We have a passion for veterans, right? And most organizations feel this way. We're in the same boat and we should be rowing in the same direction. I met
Right.
Justin at the Gold Star Wives Convention. Reads Across America Radio was broadcasting. Justin and his VVA chapter were providing color guard duties for the Gold Star Wives, and we had a great conversation. And I never would have thought here several years later that we would be talking about an MOU with the VVA, right? But through my work with Greg and Greg connecting me, with Justin connecting me with a radio show host, Greg Brasso, who Justin is on that show every week. We were able to evolve and connect the dots and find ways to support each other's missions, much the same way you do with your show, with the Tactical Treasure Show. You find ways to connect the dots and to be able to do that and find the pocket where my boss and at first I took this as an insult, but I realized it was a compliment, and she said, "You're an opportunist," and I'm like, well, yeah. And then she's like, no, 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 no. That's not a bad thing. You see the opportunity in the conversation and you're able to make it work for the organization and other organizations. Like if something doesn't work for us, for Reads Across America, it might work for, your show, right? Or it might work for VVA or one of the other hundreds of organizational partners that we have. And it's a matter of being able to see the opportunity in the conversation. So connecting the dots is my technical treasure.
I love it. I think it's a great tactical treasure, and you do connect the dots. I've seen you at work connecting dots. So,
Well, we have a saying on Veterans Voice Network is, we don't do anything, but we know everybody who does, and we will get you there. So, because people say, "Oh, you do a lot," and I say, "I don't do anything. I just connect people." That's what I know. I know a guy.
I know a
As we
guy,
talked
right?
earlier
I know
before
a
we came on,
guy,
I know a guy in Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
right?
They can help, right? I know a guy,
Yeah, I know a lot of
right?
guys all over the country, a lot of veterans.
There you go. Yeah,
Um,
who can help someone.
yes, yes. And I love, partnerships within the veteran community and even veteran organizations, businesses and foundations. And I mean, you're right. We all should be in the same boat, rowing the same way, trying to help lift each other up, right? Because all that work will help our veterans, right? And it's so funny because when you think about it, our veterans are there's like 1% of the country that signs on
Yeah.
that dotted line to serve. And we all should be in support of that in any way that we can, business, nonprofit, whatever, connecting the dots, Jeff, as you say, it's all so important. Um, this has been amazing, gentlemen, but I do have one last question for each of you before we wrap up our time here. Um, Jeff, I'll start with you this time. Any advice for veterans struggling with transition? And can the partnership of Reese and VVA help with that?
First advice for any veteran struggling is call someone. Whether it's a buddy, whether it's 988, whatever they need for help. There are resources available for you, and even if it is just a matter of picking up the phone and calling a friend of yours that you haven't talked to and 25 years, but you still have their number. It's important to make that phone call. That human connection is the first step to getting help. If they can't help you, the reality is, they can help you get your head in the right place. So that is my advice. And also, flip side of that is, and I know culturally this is a challenge for some of us. I don't particularly call people unless I need something or have something to say. It's okay to call somebody to check in that you think might be struggling. Sorry, that part of it. Now, how does this partnership work? And how does this help veterans with transition? That is an excellent question, Tracy. I appreciate you asking that. So this partnership and others is about resources, right? We know that a veteran better understands another veteran, right? And
True.
all the things that Justin mentioned earlier about the generational thing that VVA is providing support for, those veterans coming home from the Gulf War and all of those things that they started, right? That peer-to-peer veteran support is important. There's a lot of things. It's not the nature of my relationship with Justin to say this, but even though we don't talk every day, every month, he's provided me with knowledge and mentorship that he doesn't even know that he's providing, right? And so those veterans providing that information to others, and the legacy of service that allows folks to get comfortable and get that counseling, get that coaching, get that validation that they need is so important. And that's what these types of partnerships do, is they bring those resources into the fold, so we have an umbrella for resources.
Right. Yeah. Justin, same question for you,
Thank you,
sir.
Jeff. Well, here in my area, we do local coffees. Every week there's a coffee, whether it's at a senior citizen, a VFW, and it's open to all veterans. You don't need to belong to a certain. And I just was at one this morning. We had about 18 guys show up, and some guys show up and sit with their pastry and their coffee. Everybody talks to each other. And I instilled, if someone comes in we don't know, you bring them over, you sit them at the table, talk to them, find out what's going on. And one of my what I used to say to a lot of people, it's okay not to be okay. So if you're not feeling well today, or if something's going on, it's okay to call me. I have a cell phone that's 24/7. I do use the 988, press 1 if you're a veteran at the prompt. As a matter of fact, when that went online through our radio show, Veterans Voice Network, the day it went online, I actually called 988 because if we're going to promote it,
right.
I'm promoting something, I need to know it works.
Yeah.
And I called and pressed 1, and I got a very nice counselor, and I explained why I was calling. And they were a little shocked at first that I didn't need help. They probably thought I did. My wife thinks I do anyway. And it worked. And it wasn't didn't ring 20 times. They picked it right up, and it was someone that I could talk to. And so I use that 988 to all my veterans, but I also tell them it's okay not to be okay. And so it's okay to talk to someone else about not being okay. It's acceptable.
Right.
And as veterans, when we came home, again, whether you're combat or not, we just threw our stuff in the trunk and we went to work. We pushed all that stuff down.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the average suicide veterans are Vietnam veterans because we did that. And now at 78, our spouses have passed away, our family's not around, and veterans are feeling like, why should I be here? So with Wreaths Across America, it's great. It's already worked for me already in some conversations. I explained that locally we're going to be hosting one of the events at the Vietnam Wall here in Fall River. And I've already told my guy, I need you to come out. We need you to come out in December. I need to see you.
Yeah.
And so just with an event like that, that conversation starts with them.
Yeah.
And so to reach those veterans who are having a hard time, I also tell them when I hear they don't want to file benefits, I'm not that bad. I don't need my benefits. I don't want to take away from another veteran. And I try to explain to them, there is more money than we have veterans. And if you don't file, you have less money. So you need to file if you need benefits. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's another hard thing for veterans to ask. I guess they feel like it's a handout. And I tell them it's what you earned.
Right.
No one's giving you anything you didn't earn. And so those are some of the hurdles that we go through on a daily basis when I have
Sure.
conversations.
Mhm.
And I think that I'm sure it will continue. And for me, it's one veteran at a time. That's how I live my life. If I can get one veteran today to either open up or get him a benefit or get him someone who can help him with housing or a job or like I said, I don't do anything, but I know someone who can. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's it.
That's great. Justin, that's great. I like that. One veteran at a time, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do it that way.
Yeah. You make it simple. Keep it simple, they tell me.
Right. Keep it simple. So before we go here, Jeff, can you tell us where people can find and connect with you and find out more information on Reach Across America?
By the way, National Reads Across America Day is December 13th this year.
Yes.
And if you would like to support the mission of Reads Across America and honor veterans that are no longer with us, you can do that at readsacrossamerica.org. We also have Reads Across America Radio, where you can also hear the Tactical Treasures podcast. That's readsacrossamerica.org/radio. You can connect with me through Reads Across America Radio on Facebook. You can look for that there and message me, and we're happy to engage with you, whether you want to be a guest on our station, or if you want to support Reads Across America, or you're a VSO that would like to get more involved in what we're doing to support veterans.
That's great. Thanks, Jeff. And Justin, how can people find information on Vietnam Veterans of America?
So it's bva.org is our website, Vietnam Veterans America. You can reach me through Facebook or at jlatini1 at jlatini@vva.org, or you can hear us on Reach Across America at Veterans Voice Network every Thursday night from 7 to 8.
Awesome.
So I'll give that across the way a plug. So we're out there. Again, vva.org is the best way for Vietnam veterans to find out who we are and what we're about. And by the way, I'm going to plug it. Our membership lifetime is $50. So
Okay.
we like to let them know that we just need them as members. And in the last 10 years, my membership has doubled. I'm finding older veterans are finding us through this type of information and finding out who we are, and they want to be part of us. So
That's great.
we appreciate it. And I thank you very much for having us on me on.
This has been a pleasure. Pleasure is actually all mine. Thank you so much for both of you coming on. I really appreciate you sharing everything, and thank you for all you do for our veterans and in the military community. It's just amazing.
Tracy, thank you for not only having us on, but your partnership with us and what you do on a weekly basis to support veterans.
Thank you.
Oh, daily basis.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Tactical Treasures Podcast. We've just finished up an amazing conversation with Jeff Pierce, who is the Public Affairs Officer for the Main Wing of Civil Air Patrol and the Director of Media and Military Partnerships for Reach Across America, and Justin Latini, a Navy veteran who currently is the National Region 1 Director of Vietnam Veterans of America and President of VVA number 207. Reach Across America, a national nonprofit organization with the mission to remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. Vietnam Veterans of America is the nation's only congressionally chartered veteran service organizations dedicated to the needs of Vietnam veterans and their families. VVA's founding principle is never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. These two organizations are proud to announce a new national partnership with one another. This collaborative partnership, formalized through a memorandum of understanding effective March 29, 2025, will strengthen both organizations' outreach and impact through joint programming, educational initiatives, and veteran recognition events across the country. Some key initiatives outlined in the agreement include joint partnership joint participation in major events like the VVA National Convention and WAA's annual week-long escort to Arlington, increased visibility for VVA members through WAA-owned media platforms, including Reach Across America Radio through interviews and storytelling, a shared commitment to supporting welcome home events for Vietnam veterans in conjunction with WAA programming. The organizations will also highlight each other's work online and in print, expanding reach to supporters, volunteers, and veterans communities across the country. This partnership underscores the ongoing importance of unity among veterans service organizations and the power of storytelling and education in honoring America's heroes. Reach Across America Radio broadcasted live from the 2025 VVA National Convention in New Orleans, August 5th through the 9th. The team was on site capturing stories of service with veterans, partners, and volunteers throughout the event. To learn more about Vietnam Veterans of America, visit www.vva.org. And to learn more about Reach Across America, visit www.reachacrossamerica.org. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find Tactical Treasures Podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, American Grit, and our website, tacticaltreasurespodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. We are now airing on Reach Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed that, please be sure to join us for the encore on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Reach Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 veterans wreath that you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. You can donate right now at reachacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.